Welcome back for another episode of the Currency Club. Today's guest is a repeat guest. He was actually the second guest to ever make his debut on the Currency Club, and his name is Daryle Rostic. So Daryle Rostic is a firearms instructor and the owner of Smart Shooters. If you have not watched that video, be sure to go back and do that. Lots of great information shared, very inspirational interview. But today we are here to talk about his new business venture. So Daryle is now the owner of Rostic Arms, and we are going to learn all about that new business venture today. What's up, Daryle?
What up, dog? I made it back.
You did. You're one of our favorite guests. The people loved you. Did you read the comment section of your last video?
Man, the comment section gave me so much life. And shout out to everybody. I be real intentional about trying to get back to every single person because that love, like people don't got to show love. So I take that serious. It's dope.
So thank you for being here. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk Rostic Arms.
Rostic Arms is really it's kind of a two-part venture. It is a firearms store. So we're a firearms retailer now. So not only do we train people, but now we sell guns, we sell ammo, pretty much anything firearms related you could think of, scopes, body armor. But in addition to that, we also are a manufacturer, and we are manufacturing our own line of firearms called Rostic Arms. So just like you could shoot like a Glock, a Smith & Wesson, or anything like that, those are all just people's last names. And so now we throwing my last name in the mix. And hopefully we're going to make some pretty dope firearms and something that's going to live past my great-grandkids.
So why start a firearms store? Was it just a natural progression of smart shooters? Is it the generational wealth piece that you're talking about? Was it because you wanted to see your name on the guns that you're shooting or teaching people to shoot at your range? Like, why a firearms store?
It's kind of all of that, to be honest. Like, the biggest thing for me is that when the pandemic hit and I went live, people who follow me on social media, they got to see different experiences I was having. And people that control firearms sales, that control ammunition, they really was looking out for their people, and they was real shady to some other classes of people. I was like, weapons are like a fine resource of this world, and I feel like we gotta have some stake in that game too, because if the world go crazy, I want my people to be straight. I want us to be able to have somebody to go to be like, yo, we got an ammo guy, we got a gun guy, and I just ended up being that guy. Like at first I was trying to push other people to do it so I could support them. My mentor told me, he's like, hey, if this problem is on your heart heavy, like you might be the one that's supposed to solve it. It only made sense business wise because I train students anyway, and every student's question right after class is, so where should I buy a gun from? So now I could be like me.
Real quick, you just said your mentor kind of led you to start this. Can I ask who is your mentor? Is it a business mentor, a spiritual mentor?
Business mentor. So I have mentors for every area of my life. I feel like everybody should. I don't just have one mentor. Because I haven't met one person who's just great at everything that my life consists of. I have business mentors, I have spiritual mentors, I have marriage mentors, I have parenting mentors. Like my main people that I go to, there's three of them. Stan Schley, I don't know if you know Stan Schley. He owns Repair Tech 360, own a couple cell phone stores here and there all over the area. I have my pastor, Jermone Glenn, definitely guides me through all type of stuff in life. And then my mother-in-law, her name is Brenda. She's super dope. She always is a good guide for whatever I'm doing. And I love that she's not always tapped in business-wise. So I really have to be able to make sense for her to buy into it. And you need that. You need people who can't see the vision. So you have to learn how to make the vision plain for anybody to see. But yeah, she like my sounding board. I run everything past her. If I can convince her, then I know it's a green light.
So yes, major key. As an entrepreneur, a business owner, you need that mentor. You need the steering committee. You need that brainstorming group, the mastermind group. Like you need people to bounce ideas off of. But with Rostic Arms, I know it's an online store. Like I've been to your website, checked out the inventory and things like that. But do you also sell like physical products in person? For example, like somebody on a gun range, right? I got my CPL class. I'm ready to buy a gun. Can I get it from you on site if I'm in the area, or is it online only?
Not
strictly
on the
online?
range.
Okay.
No, you can come to my house and get it. So the way that the ATF works. The ATF is the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives now, so they control like fireworks stuff too. You can only do business at your place of business. Like, so there's no gun pop-up shops or stuff like that, and that's totally illegal. So, side note, if you buying guns from a dealer and it's not either at a gun show or their place of business, you are actually committing a crime because they shouldn't be selling to you anywhere but their place of business or a gun show. The stuff you see online is physical products. I have tons of physical products. I'm not going to say where I keep them because that's a liability risk. Don't keep them at the house. However, my house is my place of business according to the ATF. So if somebody wanted to purchase something, then they would just make an appointment to come by the house, or I would deliver it to whatever gun dealer in town of their choosing, and then they would pick it up from them. They would run the background check and so on and so forth. They would just pay me. I would deliver it to whoever they wanted to pick it up from, and then go from there. I do have a bunch of physical product. I'm not like a broker of any kind. When you go to my website, I'm not like the middleman of some other stores. That's all stuff that I put cash into, that if you call me today, you can make an appointment and come buy it today.
All right. That was definitely one of my questions. So you answered it before I could even ask it. We on the same thought wave as usual.
Because a lot of people be like that. A lot of people see that stuff and they be like, so are you like a middleman of a warehouse or something? And it's like, nah, it's really not. There are times where people want to buy stuff and I'm like, yo, I don't got that in or that just sold. So I got to order it. Give me 3 days and it'll be here. But most stuff that you see on the website, you can order, pick up in. If I'm at home that day, I'll put up the option to pick up in store. It'll give you my house address. You'll make an appointment and then you'll come pick it up. I don't know why people be thinking that way. I took my life savings and bought a bunch of guns. That's what I did.
So one reason that thought even crossed in my mind about you possibly being a middleman, I wasn't going to call you that, but I'm asking the process of the questions, is because it seems like you have a lot of options, right? So on your
Yeah,
online store, rosticarms.com, it seems like a lot of options, a lot of inventory. So I'm just like, this had to be expensive. You already said you took your life savings, but I'm like, did he spend 20,000, 30,000, 100,000? Did he spend his money to buy all this up front, or is he the broker to keep costs low? So
the reality is we know we live in a world of instant gratification. If I spend 700 for something, I kind of want it when I spend 700.
facts.
No, I spent the nice size 5 figures to get that store going.
Complete side note, I went to the store this morning trying to buy a new wig, and she was like, "Oh, I don't really have any." She was like, "I don't have them on hand. Everything I do is custom order. I could take your measurements and have it for you in about 2 weeks." And I was like, "Nah, I'm just go somewhere else." Because, like, to your
Man,
point, if I'm got to eat
man,
$300 for a wig, $500 for a wig, 2 weeks ain't gonna work for me. I'm trying to wear this to brunch on
right.
Sunday. Complete
That's
side note.
it.
Complete side note. But just
No,
to
I'm
drive
with you
home
because
your
young
point.
people be the same way. They be like, yo, I want to carry that mug today. Like one dude
Mm-hmm.
came, bought a gun today. He going to the range today. So
That part.
like, you know what I mean? That's why I was like, I gotta have stuff on hand. And what I am finna build on my website is gonna make it nice where I'm gonna activate a tab or a tab that just says in store. So that way you'll know what I have on hand versus what it's gonna take me a couple of days to order.
What is the process for a person to become a licensed distributor or to open an online gun store, or shoot, even an in-person gun store? Like, what credentials do you need? What security clearance do you need? I
Right.
imagine like no criminal background, no felonies on your record, I assume. But once again, I'm ignorant to the topic. So inform us.
When you want to start this process, the first thing you have to do is fill out an application with the ATF. So you go to atf.gov, you're going to fill out application to become a FFL dealer. So a FFL is to get your federal firearms license. You're going to fill out the application. There's, I think, 8 or 9 different classes. So you got to figure out the class that makes sense for your business. I am a '07, so a class 7 dealer is allowed to manufacture and I can build anything up to explosives or destructive devices. I can't build nothing like that. But anything from like a machine gun down, like I can build those legally, manufacturing. But most people go for a O1. A O1 is just a retailer, meaning I'm gonna order it from a distributor and I'm gonna resell it to the customer. So you figure out what you want to be. Then you have to go get fingerprints taken. I went right to my local state police. And then you have to get a passport photo. And I went right to Walgreens, took the little passport joint. They gave it to me on a flash drive. And then I took all of that and then I mailed it off to the ATF. To get licensed is actually cheap. Like it was just $150. Then you have to wait like a month, 2 months almost, because they have to do a super extensive background check. After the background check, you'll get a call from an agent. An agent's gonna call you and schedule a home visit. Now, most people, YouTube had me scared of the home visit because they had me thinking like, when you get a home visit that, oh, they're going to come and inspect your house for security. But it's really not that. When they come for the home visit, basically you already approved. They come and they lay out the processes. This is how you sell a gun. This is the records that you have to keep. They do ask, do you have security in the home? Just little questions like that. And I was like, yeah, I got locks and the camera. And they was like, that's good enough. It really wasn't nothing super extensive. They don't even check to make sure you got a safe. Like, they don't care because you really, in reality, might just order one gun, sell one gun, and then keep it moving. So you do the home visit. The home visit with the ATF lasts about 3 hours. And they really go through all their policies and procedures. They really make sure that you set up for success. Shout out to my field agent, Jackie. She was super dope in making sure I was set up. The ATF is known to be assholes, but my agent was dope. After the home visit, you just wait for the paper to come in the mail. Done.
So how long did this process take from beginning to end? When you said, I want to open an online gun store and you put in the paperwork, did the application, all that.
About a month and a half, 2 months, maybe.
So you mentioned that something was only $100. I don't know if it's an application fee, licensing
Yep.
fee. Something was only $100.
150, 150.
And then you mentioned you bought inventory up front. And then obviously you have a website that you're selling stuff on. So whatever website platform, there's going to be a fee associated with that. But are there
Yeah.
any other costs that go into starting up this type of
It's a
business?
ton of cost.
Let's talk
Listen.
about it.
You got to think twice before you do this. That's why the application is only 150. People be like, "Oh, I could be a gun dealer for 150." No, it's all the stuff that comes after that. So for one, you officially cannot use any standard e-commerce site. You can't use Shopify, you can't use Squarespace, you can't use even Wix. You can't use any of those sites because they're all anti-gun sites. They all are owned by anti-gun people, and they will just delete your store and not even tell you. There was a big thing in 2018 about Shopify. They didn't even announce it. They just deleted every gun store that was on Shopify. And then
Wow.
sent people checks for their money. That alone is a cost because the places that you can go to for a website, you have to pay an arm and a leg and sell a kidney to get them to host your website. Then you have your payment processors. Your payment processors are another thing because you can't use Stripe, PayPal, or any of the other casual ones because they're all anti-gun programs. So you have to go to like Fortis, or I think Fortis bought Blue Dog. You have to go to Gearfire. You got to go to somebody who will work with a high risk business. Chase Bank will work with high risk businesses, but you had to basically sign over your organs to them in order to get them to even go before the board and approve. It's a lot of stuff you just don't think about. Like you just think, oh, I'll just make a website on Shopify and be straight. But nah. And then they all be taking like 5%, 7% off of every sale, paying $80 a month for processing. I gotta plug my guy in, Justin. He owns a payment processor called Payment. But he's a black owned payment processor. It was dope. He ain't to the point where he got like card readers and stuff yet, but he give you QR codes for everything. He's backed, he's insured. Like that was major. So I ended up going with him. Yeah, that's just the start of it. You start talking about special taxes you gotta pay once you sell a certain amount of guns. The manufacturer, I have to pay a certain amount of taxes. It costs a lot. Like I was a few thousand into it before I ever got any inventory. Like the instruction business, you could drop 650 and be on your way. Nah, this not that. Like you really gotta love doing this, or it gotta make sense for you. Because if you think you just gonna use it and buy guns for cheap, that ain't gonna work. And I can tell you too, because I be 100 with you when it come to the money. The markups only be like $70, $80 on guns. That's all stores be making. The money is in everything else that you sell. The ammo, the headset, the holsters, all of that stuff. That's where the good margins is. And most manufacturers have a minimum advertised price where you can't go below that, or they'll strip their products from you and you can't sell them no more. This gun stuff is rough. Like if you think that you just gonna drop a few grand or a tax return and get into this,
If a person wanted to get started in this, you don't have to tell me how much you spend, but if a person wanted to get started on this on the low end, maybe just sell a couple handguns and ammo, What would it cost them?
I would say you need to have at least 5 grand, and that's doing the bare minimum. That's just like I'm gonna buy 2 guns, I'm gonna sell 2 guns, then I'm gonna get 2 more. Because I just told you, you only making 70, $80 off every sale. You gotta have competitive pricing, or people are not gonna shop with you. You gotta consider all the high fees I just told you about. So the name of this game is quantity. You gotta be moving units fast. Like that's the only way that this makes sense. Because if you like, man, I sold 3 guns, then you look back and be like, but I only made $104 after all the fees and stuff. If people really thinking about doing this, I made a YouTube video on my channel all about how to start this process. Just know you gonna have to come off some bread. Like it's a whole lot to get started, but it only made sense for us because I'm an instructor. So I have a database already of 600 something people that all love guns. So like, hey, now you can come get it from me. I just had 2 days in a row, Wednesday, Thursday. I ain't make no money. I was sick about it. All this money I put into this.
No money from
But
Rostic Arms. I bet you made
well,
money
right, you
with
know
other
that.
business endeavors, but no money from Rostic Arms. For the people who
Well,
don't
that's
know
what
you,
I
just for
meant.
the people
Yeah.
who don't know you.
You right about that because we gonna always make some money. That's one thing for sure. Like that, we gonna always make some money. Ain't gonna ever be a day where that's truly $0. Never.
I know your business is brand new. You literally made the public launch earlier this month.
March, I think it was like the 7th or the 8th or something like that.
You don't even know because you don't make a lot of
It did.
announcements. You
It
just do the
didn't
work behind
matter.
the scenes and then you be like, boom, I'm here. I'm here. I'm ready.
I
I'm your new
know,
local firearms dealer, right? How do you market this business?
man. Sis, if I could be 100, that's the hardest part of this because it's firearms related. You can't sponsor ads on Facebook. You can't sell on Facebook. If you even use certain keywords, I have a list from Facebook of 32 words that I can't say in a post, or they will instantly flag it and lock my account for 7 days.
Mark don't
It's
play.
it's hard to do the whole social media marketing piece of it. So we've been trying to get real creative and like really just get out here. But the biggest thing been gun shows. Like I got to go where the people who want the product are, and that's gun shows. I'm doing another one this weekend. I got a class Saturday, but Sunday we're going to Cadillac and doing another gun show that way. So this is really like old school guerrilla marketing, and or I'm printing T-shirts and I'm gonna be at the hockey game throwing them. You know, when they be shooting out the little T-shirts, I'm gonna be throwing mine too. Like, what they gonna do? Kick me out? Like, I don't care as long as people get the shirts. I don't watch hockey no way. Like, so
Right.
we really getting back to guerrilla marketing and thinking like, how do you get product in front of people when you can't just say, "Hey, I sell guns." You know what I'm saying? If I'm thinking I'm gonna just print shirts with dope quotes on them, dope sayings on it, and be like, for more information, here go my contact. And then hopefully they wear it because it's a free shirt. You know, people love free shirts, and then that's free marketing right there. It's just coming up with stuff like that, partnering with like radio stations that makes sense. Because even they got a certain level of censorship where I can't say too much. I got to sell it as a protection, not as guns. Like it's a lot. That's the challenge right now. Luckily, God is great. I got a lot of influence right now and I got a really big network. That's the dollars that's getting me off the ground.
Okay, so you mentioned a gun show. Like you are taking your business to where the people are, right? Your target
hmm
audience is already there. They showing up, they ready to spend some money. Talk to me about your experience with your first gun show.
Yeah, the first gun show was dope. The first day was super slow. I sold 1 gun. I was pissed. I was like, maybe I made a mistake, but I was already too deep in it financially. Like I was hurt the first day because the firearms industry there's not very many black people in that industry. When it starts coming to dealers, when it starts coming to influencers, like there's not a lot of us. One of the experiences that I had that I guess it was a little traumatic was a guy came to my table and I introduced myself like, hey, let me know if you need something. And his wife said, hey, isn't that the one you're looking for? He's got a good price on it. And he whispered to her loud enough for me to hear, I would never buy from a nigga. I was like, whoa, wasn't expecting that.
I
Crazy because
was. That's why I asked, tell me about your experience because that's where I was going to take it to, friend. I work
it's
in diversity and inclusion, right, in my day job. So I see this, I hear this type of stuff all the time. And some people are still appalled that we're in 2022 and these conversations are still happening, or people are that
man,
blatant about the racism that's
yeah,
still here and very much alive.
it's a
So
lie.
you went there without me even asking you, but I
Oh
expected
yeah.
that. So I'm sorry to interrupt, friend. Let's get back to your
No, you
story.
good. You
So he
good
said it
because
loud enough for you to hear. And then
he
what?
did, and I let it slide. I just let him go on about his day. Cause the dope part about the story is dog actually came back the next day, and he was looking at the same gun his wife showed him, And I was like, I thought you ain't buy from my people. He was like, oh, you heard that? I was like, yeah, I heard it. So I was gonna make it like it was static, but then he apologized to me. He's talking about he come from like his family was Nazis or whatever, and he comes from like that's the thought process. And it was dope because I didn't even care about the apology. He ended up buying some ammo. I told my brother, sell him the ammo. We still gonna take his money. The mindset of I'm only gonna spend with my people is just like, and that was powerful to me. Like to the point where he didn't care if he offended me. He was letting his wife know like that ain't what we do. We spend with our own people. And I was just like, man, I don't encourage racism, but I just wonder what would happen if we move like that. Like, nah, like I'm not buying my guns from no random person. I'm gonna go to somebody that look like me. Like,
How much does it cost to register to be in a gun show? Because I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I've done pop up shops selling T-shirts and stuff like that, and the
yeah,
fee varies depending on the location and how many people they expect to attract, all that. But like, what is the
it's the same.
range to?
Base will probably be like $50 a table. You're gonna need a few tables. We got two tables and that wasn't enough. In Grand Rapids, the show was $60 a table. And knowing what I know now, I would have grabbed four tables. I needed tables just for people to just sit down and fill out paperwork.
Yeah.
Because while they was doing their paperwork for the guns, nobody else could shop because they was in the way. That's something I didn't think about until I had this experience. Yeah, I learned a lot from this gun show. But yeah, that diversity piece, all this gun stuff, the dynamics of race is so heavy in this industry. Because then you got black people telling me I'm the devil because I'm out here selling guns to these kids. Shout out to my little cousin Tone, man. Tone came and bought a gun from me. Like my family was like, "You trust him with a gun?" I'm like, he took the class, he got his license, like, and if
Mm-hmm.
he don't buy it from me, he gonna get it anyway. Why wouldn't you want him to keep the money in the family? But like
Yeah.
that's the dynamic I'm up against because in their mind, they like guns are bad. Only police and gangbangers use guns. But then on this side, I got my Caucasian people the people who rock with me, like, yes, I don't gotta go to the gun store no more. I can go to Daryle house, like, or I can just
Yes.
order it and have it shipped to me. But then there's that other group of people that's like gun dealers, Caucasian gun dealers, pissed at me. Like
Mm-hmm.
what? Like people that used to show me so much love and stuff. Now that I do it,
It's all
yeah,
good until you become the competition.
that's it. Like I don't even believe in competition. Like I know I have to be competitive, but I always believe I'm really competing with myself. They really be like, mm-mm. Like I went in to buy a gun yesterday from a shop for my personal use. Cause side note, you cannot just use this to buy stuff for your personal gain. And I'm like, y'all got such and such, or is he here? Can I talk to him? Whatever. He's like, no, you can either buy the gun or you can get out. I'm like, whoa, bro, like what you mad for?
The
And I was like,
dynamics have changed.
man, can I buy this with my license? And he was like, no, we have to sell it to you personally. I was like, even if I'm gonna resell it through my dealer license, well, how do we know you have a dealer license? I'm like, it's in my wallet. I was like, you know what? I don't even want the gun. I'm good, bro. Like, have a good day. And it's
Right.
crazy because this gun store is somebody that I done spent tens of thousands of dollars with before I was a dealer. The love definitely don't be there no more, and that's cool. Like I expected it, but it's a whole nother thing when you go through it. Like it really weigh on me every day that I gotta try to fight through the thickness of this. I don't even know what to call it, but it's just like this racial war that's on both sides of me. Like I gotta explain to y'all that it's dope, and I gotta explain to y'all like just because I'm black, you still should shop with me. It's rough, but I mean I can't complain. We still get money, so I'm alright.
Yeah. It's just more weight added to that backpack, like that burden that we
Man,
all carry with us. The people of color is just more weight added in that backpack. Well, thank you for being transparent and giving us a little story time and sharing your experience of some
right,
of the things
right.
that you encountered, your first couple weeks of being live with Rostic Arms. Hit that subscribe button to join the club and be sure to check out Daryl's other interviews and his YouTube channel.